2016 was the hottest year ever recorded, and more than 1/3 of adults are considered to be obese. More than 1 in 20 have extreme obesity. So why are these two topics? How do they even relate to each other? Well, a lot of people don't know both are correlated to human diet, and both can be significantly improved by diet. How? Veganism. Veganism is a diet in which humans or people don't consume any animal products. So that's meat, dairy, eggs, anything from an animal. Vegans do not consume. And so I'll get into how specifically it benefits both health and the environment. But in case you haven't concluded, I am vegan, and I've been vegan for 8 months now, and like many of you, I was super skeptical about it. I really didn't have like a good connotation with veganism. I was just kind of like, oh, that's weird. But the more I researched it and the more I've experienced personally, I feel the more knowledge I have to share with everyone. So today I will specifically be talking about 3 main benefits of veganism. The first being health benefits, the second how being vegan has several environmental benefits, and lastly how being vegan can save you a lot of money. So firstly, we will look at some health benefits from being vegan. Taking dairy and meat out of your diet and replacing it with fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, beans, and soy products removes excess levels of saturated and trans fats and removes all levels of dietary cholesterol. And it makes more room for foods like this that are good for your health, good for your nervous system, detox, prevent inflammation, good for your skin, and it strengthens your immune system. Once you take meat and dairy from being the main part of your diet, which has a lot of fats and stuff, you make more room for veggies. However, not all fat is bad. Humans actually need fats. According to healthcastle.com, fats help with nutrient absorption. However, when consumed in excess, fats contribute to weight gain, heart disease, and certain types of cancers. The key is to replace bad fats with good fats in our diet. According to nursingdegree.net, dairy and meat contains a large amount of saturated fats. By reducing the amount of saturated fats from your diet, you'll improve your cardiovascular and overall health tremendously. The same is true with cholesterol. Our body needs cholesterol, so it naturally produces it by itself. But too much is bad for your heart. According to Dr. Campbell from the documentary Forks Over Knives, when dietary cholesterol is consumed, it tends to stay in the bloodstream and create plaque, which collects in the blood vessels and causes coronary heart disease. So removing dairy and meat will remove dietary cholesterol completely, according to nursingdegree.net. So another health benefit for veganism is that it can prevent or reverse diseases. PCRM.org states that according to the World Health Organization, approximately 1/3 of all cases of cancer are preventable. Men and women should avoid dairy and red meat to help reduce risk of prostate cancer in men and colon, rectum, breast, kidney, and pancreatic cancers in both men and women. A perfect example of a plant-based diet completely reversing somebody's health is Joey, I can't pronounce his last name, from the documentary Forks Over Knives. Doctors discovered that he had dangerously high levels of cholesterol. He had a hazardous blood sugar level, which he was type 2 diabetic. He was a prime candidate for a heart attack based on his current health condition, and he was on several pills just to keep him alive because he was still eating the same, but he had to take medication to keep his health under control. And so doctors suggested that he adopt a plant-based diet, and after only 8 weeks, Joey was off all of his medications, and after a few more weeks of being vegan after the 8 weeks, his type 2 diabetes went away. So completely reversed his health. Another benefit that I mentioned at the beginning is veganism is good for our environment as well. Not eating meat or dairy would greatly help combat climate change. Animal agriculture is the leading cause of climate change. According to the documentary Cowspiracy, A report online published by the UN states that raising livestock produces more greenhouse gases than the emissions of the entire transportation sector. So this is just a visual on that fact. The most popular greenhouse gas that most people think causes global warming is carbon dioxide. And it just shows you that if one person exchanges a regular car for a hybrid, they'll reduce carbon dioxide emissions by 1 ton per year. But by changing their diet to vegan, they would reduce carbon dioxide emissions by 1.5 tons per year. So this goes as far as what, like the process of making meat and dairy and raising livestock and the carbon that it emits. The same thing goes with methane. Turkeys, chickens, and pigs and cows all produce methane from their digestive tract, so it's basically just like cow farts. Is what's 20 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. And nitrous oxide is 65% of the world's nitrous oxide emissions is caused by the dairy and meat industry, and it's 300 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. So that just goes with showing. Here's food prints by diet type, and as you can see, the meat lover has 3.3 tons of CO2 per person, while the vegan diet has 1.5 tons of CO2 emitted. Yeah, as well as being good for as far as global warming. Being vegan is also good at saving water. Raising livestock just in the U.S. consumes 34 trillion gallons of water every year. That's more than humans consume in total annually. Water footprints includes what the animals consume and also what the food, the water it takes to grow the food that feeds them. And so this is just a visual showing you that it takes a lot more water to produce 1 pound of meat than it does to produce 1 pound of wheat. And it says a vegan diet requires 300 gallons of water per day versus meat eating diet, which requires 4,000 gallons per day. And yeah, just some interesting statistics. Lastly, if you don't care about your health or the environment, I'm sure everyone cares about saving money. So, and being vegan can help you do that. Since being vegan, from my personal experience, I've noticed that I save a ton of money. I used to eat fast food all the time, and that eats up your wallet a lot. And so now fast food is like not in my diet anymore since nothing offers vegan options. So I mainly cook at home, which means I buy all my groceries, and like my grocery bill is cut in half because in the price that you get a pound of meat, you can get a lot more as far as vegetables and grains. Like I remember when I used to make spaghetti and I would use ground beef, I would spend like $20 for maybe 4 servings of spaghetti, like max, and including the ground beef. And then taking ground beef out of the equation, I spend $20 on 2 weeks worth of grains and veggies. So it's a huge difference, I've noticed. And I learned that nationally, that holds true as well. According to an article on theatlantic.com, out of all the world's countries, the U.S. would save the most by curbing its taste for meat. The country could save $250 billion if it eschewed animal products altogether. So as you can see, this is projected of 2050 in billions of US dollars, and if everyone went vegan, this is how much the total savings would be. So in conclusion, vegan is not just good for animals. Veganism is good for your health by reducing dangerous dietary fats and cholesterols that cause terminal diseases, and also reducing the risk of diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, and cancers. It's also good for the environment by reducing greenhouse emissions such as methane, carbon dioxide, and nitrous oxide, and saving water. Lastly, it's good for your wallet since veggies and grains can be bought in abundance for super cheap. So yeah, that's it.
So Daniel, what did you think? Daniel's not here, apparently. Well, there we go. Well, I'll tell you what I thought. Like, that's a surprise. I thought your series of statistical information at the beginning was good at putting together kind of an interesting setup for the subject and transitioning to the topic. I thought that worked really well. I liked the specific statement of what your purpose was. That was pretty solid. It sounded at first like you were going to have 2 supporting points, but when you actually got to the preview, there were 3 and you identified what they were. So I thought that that worked pretty well as well. So the setup is all pretty strong. Supporting material, there's a lot of research in the presentation. You cite sources pretty consistently on that. I thought that that was good. Sometimes the explanations are a little bit rushed because you've got so much information. I think you get the impression that sometimes it explains itself, and I do think you need to do a little bit more background on a couple of the points. But there wasn't anything that was hugely problematic, just a few things that I think could have been filled in a little bit more. For example, on the material on water, it felt like it was a little underdeveloped. Organizationally, like I said, there is a clear topical structure for the presentation. However, I thought that the movement between the points was, well, let me see, the environmental issue, for instance, was labeled, but the transition to it was very abrupt. However, in other points, I thought it went a little bit more smoothly. The visual materials are fine for the most part. I do think a couple of the slides don't really explain much. I mean, they're a little hard to see. There's so much information on a single slide, for instance, that as a result, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to focus on, and you're waving the laser doesn't help that much, really. It's just, okay, so I'm looking up there for the moment, but of course, because all that other material is there, that's where I think people are naturally going to drift to while you're talking, and I think that that becomes a bit of a distraction. So probably needed to be edited and cleaned up a little bit and maybe sharpened some of the images so that we could see them a little bit more clear. There was one slide that had so much information on it, and it was also small. It was a little bit hard to see. It's like that light gold color, I think, made it a little bit hard to see anything on there. Delivery, if I'm just listening to you, it's not too bad because you are speaking very clearly and we can hear you for the most part. Sometimes it sounds a little bit like you're reading, but not often. But when I'm watching you, it is a little bit more noticeable because you've kind of got your elbow on the podium sometimes, and it's you don't look up at us as much as you ought to. You need to engage us a little bit more. I like the personal stories that you're telling throughout the presentation. I think that adds interest to the presentation. And I thought you had a good summary at the end of the presentation. But you got to work on that exit line because we got the Porky Pig exit here that several people have had today. I haven't pointed it out to other folks, but I'll point it out to you. That's it is not the best way to finish your presentation. And you had a good summary, so it seemed to me like there are all kinds of... So who wouldn't want to save the world and save some money at the same time? There you go. All right, thank you.